London isn't just a city, it's a living time machine. Beneath its cobblestone streets and soaring glass towers lies a heartbeat that has never stopped. Through fire, plague, empire, and war. From the whispers of kings in candlelit halls, to the laughter of Shakespeare's audiences, to the thunder of bombs during the Blitz. London has seen it all, and today we'll walk through centuries in a single journey, uncovering how this city rose, fell, burned, rebuilt, and became one of the greatest capitals on earth. Welcome to Timeless London, the ancient foundations. Our story begins nearly 2,000 years ago, when the mighty Roman Empire stretched its hand across Europe. Around the year 43 AD, they founded a small settlement along the River Thames. They called it Londinium. It was nothing more than a cluster of wooden huts and a simple bridge at first, but its location, right where the river narrowed, made it a perfect place for trade and defense. The Romans built more than houses. They built walls, roads, bathhouses, and temples. By the 2nd century, Londinium had become one of the largest towns in Roman Britain, buzzing with soldiers, merchants, and travelers. The Thames carried ships filled with wine, grain, and pottery, while Roman coins and statues remind us even today that this was once a place of empire. But Londinium wasn't just prosperous, it was also vulnerable. In 60 AD, the fierce warrior queen Boudica led an uprising that burned the young city to the ground. Imagine the flames lighting up the night sky, Roman soldiers fighting desperately, and Londoners fleeing in terror. And yet out of ashes, the city was rebuilt, stronger, with stone walls that you can still see traces of today near the Tower Hills underground station. For centuries, Londinium stood as a bustling Roman outpost, with amphitheaters where gladiators fought, markets filled with exotic goods, and streets paved for legions to march. But as the Roman Empire crumbled, so too did Londinium. By the 5th century, the once proud city was nearly abandoned, left to crumble into ruins. And yet, the story of London was only just beginning. The medieval heart of London. When the Romans left, London slumbered for centuries. But by the 9th and 10th centuries, the city awoke again, this time under Anglo-Saxon and Viking shadows. Imagine narrow wooden streets, small thatched homes, and traders selling wool and grain in muddy markets. But the true heartbeat of medieval London came with the Norman conquest in 1066. After his victory at the Battle of Hastings, William the Conqueror sought to tame the city with a symbol of his power. That symbol still stands today, the Tower of London. What began as a stark fortress of cold stone would become a royal palace, a prison, and even a place of execution. It was here that queens like Anne Boleyn lost their lives, and where the crown jewels are still guarded. For Londoners, the tower was both a symbol of royal majesty and royal fear. Meanwhile, just across the Thames, another great symbol rose, Westminster Abbey. Built in the 11th century, it became the spiritual heart of the nation. Every English monarch since 1066 has been crowned there, beneath soaring arches that seem to touch the heavens. Walking through it today, you can feel the weight of history in every stone, as if the air itself whispers of kings and queens long gone. But medieval London wasn't all grandeur. The city was also dangerous. Fires spread quickly through wooden houses, and filth in the streets made disease rampant. In 1348, the Black Death arrived. In a matter of months, nearly half of London's population perished. Imagine silent streets, carts of the dead, and church bells tolling endlessly. Yet somehow, London endured. The age of Shakespeare and Elizabeth. The 1500s brought a golden glow to London under Queen Elizabeth I. This was the Renaissance of England, a time of exploration, art, and theater. And at its center was a playwright whose words would echo through eternity, William Shakespeare. On the south bank of the Thames stood the Globe Theatre, where Londoners, nobles, and commoners alike, crowded to see plays like Romeo and Juliet or Hamlet. Imagine the roar of laughter, the hush of suspense, the thrill of words spoken by candlelight. Shakespeare's London was alive, vibrant, and full of energy. But beyond the theater, London was becoming a city of power and empire. Explorers sailed from its docks to unknown worlds. Wealth poured in from trade, fueling the rise of merchants and guilds, and in its heart, St. Paul's Cathedral stood proudly. Though the medieval version, not the great dome we know today, yet life was not always golden. Religious conflict tore through London as Protestant and Catholic beliefs clashed. Streets saw executions, and the Tower claimed new victims. But through it all, the city grew stronger, more resilient, and ever more central to the destiny of England. Fire and rebirth. The 1600s tested London like never before. First came plague, 1665. The Great Plague of London swept through the city, killing tens of thousands. Red crosses marked doors where families lay stricken, and silence haunted entire neighborhoods. And then, as if fate had not done enough, disaster struck again. In September 1666, a spark in a bakery on Pudding Lane roared into the Great Fire of London. For 4 days, flames consumed the wooden city, reducing St. Paul's, 13,000 homes, and nearly 90 churches to ash. The sky glowed red, smoke billowed for miles, and terrified families fled to the open fields beyond the city walls. But from the ashes rose opportunity. The fire cleared centuries of disease and filth, and visionaries like Sir Christopher Wren rebuilt London with brick, stone, and ambition. His masterpiece, the new St. Paul's Cathedral, crowned with its iconic dome, became a beacon of resilience. If the medieval city had been vulnerable, the new London would stand unshakable. The Age of Empire and Industrial Revolution. By the 1700s, London was no longer just England's capital. It was the beating heart of an empire that stretched across the seas. Ships sailed from the Thames carrying tea, sugar, and silk, while goods from India, Africa, and the Americas poured in. The city swelled with wealth, but also with people. By the 18th century, London was the largest city in Europe. Coffee houses buzzed with ideas. Scientists debated discoveries, politicians argued over policies, and writers like Samuel Johnson sharpened their pens. Then came the Industrial Revolution of the 1800s. Smoke rose from factories, railways sliced through the land, and the Thames teemed with ships. The city transformed from a medieval tangle of alleys to a modern industrial powerhouse. But progress came at a price. The streets were overcrowded, pollution hung thick in the air, and poverty lurked just beyond the wealth. For every grand townhouse in Mayfair, there was a dark slum in the East End. London was a city of contrasts, where fortune and misery walked side by side. Victorian splendor and struggle. If there was ever a time London embodied both majesty and hardship, it was the reign of Queen Victoria. From 1837 to 1901, London became the glittering jewel of the world's largest empire. The city dressed itself in splendor. The Houses of Parliament, crowned with the soaring tower of Big Ben, rose majestically along the Thames. The Crystal Palace dazzled visitors at the Great Exhibition of 1851, showcasing the wonders of science and industry. The streets filled with horse-drawn carriages, gentlemen in top hats, and ladies in flowing gowns. Gas lamps lit the night, and the world's first underground railway, the London Underground, opened in 1863, a marvel of engineering. But beneath the grandeur was another London. The East End groaned under the weight of poverty, where children worked in factories. Disease spread in cramped housing, and crime haunted the foggy alleys. This was the London of Charles Dickens, who captured both its splendor and suffering in novels that still move us today. And in 1888, terror stalked the streets of Whitechapel in the form of Jack the Ripper, a chilling reminder that even in the heart of empire, darkness lurked. War and the Blitz. The 20th century brought challenges unlike any before. During World War I, London endured air raids for the first time in its history, but it was World War II that etched scars into the very soul of the city. From 1940 to 1941, German bombers unleashed the Blitz. Night after night, London burned. The skies glowed red, buildings collapsed into rubble, and thousands lost their lives. And yet, amid the destruction, the spirit of London never broke. Ordinary Londoners huddled in underground stations, singing songs to drown out the sound of bombs above. Firefighters braved infernos to save what they could, and high above the smoke, the dome of St. Paul's Cathedral stood untouched, a shining symbol of defiance and hope. When Winston Churchill spoke of Britain's determination to fight on, it was London's endurance that gave his words power. The city became a symbol to the world, a place that would never bow, no matter the cost. Modern London, skyscrapers and diversity. From the rubble of war, London rose once again. The post-war years brought reconstruction, and the skyline began to change. Tower blocks and modern bridges reshaped the horizon. By the 21st century, London had become a global capital of finance, culture, and diversity. Glass and steel skyscrapers, the Shard, the Gherkin, Canary Wharf, rose beside centuries-old landmarks like the Tower of London and Westminster. Today, the city blends history and innovation in a single glance. But London is more than its architecture. Walk its streets and you'll hear over 300 languages. From curry houses in Brick Lane to markets in Camden, from West End theaters to Wembley Stadium, London is a world city where cultures meet, mix, and thrive. And through it all, the spirit of resilience endures. London has faced fire, plague, invasion, and war. Each time it has risen stronger, reimagined yet timeless. Legacy and reflection. So what makes London eternal? It is not just its monuments, though they are mighty. It is not just its wealth, though it has been vast. London endures because it is alive. A city of people, stories, triumphs, and struggles. From Roman Londinium to the Blitz, from Shakespeare's stage to the glass towers of today, London has never stopped evolving. And perhaps that is the secret. London is not a city trapped in the past, but one that carries its history into the future. As you walk its streets, you are never walking alone. You walk beside kings and queens, poets and rebels, builders and dreamers. That is the magic of London. It is not just history, it is humanity written in stone, smoke, and song. This is timeless London, and its story is far from over.
This is Timeless Europe. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe for more.